$56.8 billion. That's how much money Unilever made in 2021. How is that even possible? What do they even sell? Short answer, everything. No, seriously, everything. From ice cream, the tea, the deodorant, body wash, you name it. And within those categories, they have over 400 brands under their control, operating in 190 countries. Unilever made so many of the brands that we know today, including Q-Tips, Ben & Jerry's, Axe, Degree, Good Humor, the list goes on and on. What is this company, and how are they so successful? The simple answer to Unilever's success is scale. In this video, we're going to cover the history of this company that seems to have been involved in everything, including colonies, how they did it, and why. (1929) Unilever was formed by a merger between Margarine Unie, a Dutch company that makes edible fats, and the Lever brothers. Okay, let's rewind. 1885. The Lever brothers was a British manufacturing company founded by William and James Lever. They started a grocery business and then became a soap making company with their partner William Watson, who invented the soap making process that they used. Now the company wasn't completely clean. Get it? By 1911, they had their own oil palm plantation in Belgian Congo, a colony, and they ran this plantation using forced labor from the colony. Okay, let's give some context. By the end of the 19th century, the scramble for Africa was at its height, and European countries are struggling to take control of different African regions. In 1855, the Berlin Conference was held, and colonial powers divided areas of interest among themselves. Britain claims the lower Niger Basin, which is important because of all the resources they can control and trade internationally. Trade is handled by the Royal Niger Company, and this company handles one of the most significant resources at the time, oil palm. And this is where the Lever brothers come in. They came in to supply their company with oil palm, and so they were heavily invested in the Royal Niger Company. By 1888, the Lever brothers company had grown to producing 450 tons per year, and they entered the US market in 1895. In 1900, the British government sold the territories from the Royal Niger Company for £865,000, which is about $174 million today. And they did this so they could control the trade themselves. In 1929, the Lever brothers had 1,400 worldwide employees and were the third largest soap manufacturer in the US. And Unilever bought the Royal Niger Company in 1930. Despite all this growth, there were still dark times ahead, being the Great Depression and World War II. (1925) and William Lever is now dead. Leadership of the company had been handed over to Francis Darcy Cooper ever since. During the 1930s, the Great Depression happens, and this affected every aspect of Unilever's operation. Its raw materials companies faced price decreases of 30% to 40% in the first year alone. Margarine, one of the company's key products, was affected by the plummeting price of butter, and the company saw declining sales overall. Unilever had to act quickly to set up an efficient control system. They set up a special committee to balance the British and Dutch interests of the company. It also set up a committee to handle the business in Europe and another to handle the overseas business. By 1937, they needed to reorganize again. Why? Well, originally, around 2/3 of Unilever's profits were earned by its Dutch group and 1/3 by its British group. Because of increasing trade conflicts in Europe, particularly in Germany, the situation had reversed. So the company reorganized its assets so its profits would be nearly equal. By the end of World War II, Unilever began investing in research and marketing, and then started its streak of acquisitions. And this is how they began taking over industries. Now let's take a look into how they took over one industry, for example, the ice cream industry. The industrial production of ice cream only started in the second half of the 19th century. At the time, ice cream was a seasonal product, so it was mostly being sold in the summer. In the early 1920s, there was the first chocolate-coated ice cream bar, which allowed ice cream to go from a seasonal product to being sold year-round. I guess people like chocolate. Europe was far behind America in the mass production of ice cream, but in 1913, a British company, Tewall & Sons, started selling ice cream in the summer to offset their sausage sales, which are lower during those times. They started mass production in 1922, and that same year they were acquired by the Lever brothers. By the 1930s, Wall's built a nationwide ice cream distribution system, and by the end of the 1930s, they were one of the two companies holding 15% of the market. Unilever expanded by acquiring an ice cream business in Germany. They bought how do I say this?
Langnese.
In 1936, which is one of the largest ice cream companies in Germany. This was a way they could reinvest because at the time, profits couldn't be taken out of Germany. By 1956, Unilever's Belgian margarine company started its own ice cream company called Ola. They initially did this by importing Wall's ice cream from Britain and selling that until they started their own factory in 1958. At this point, the tactic is to acquire a company, leverage its process, receipts, expertise, and distribution techniques to start other brands in the same category. And then Unilever went on a shopping spree. The expansion continued, and over the next few decades, they acquired several ice cream companies to extend their global reach. They chose acquisitions instead of committing to start new ventures in these countries because the nature of the ice cream sector demanded that Unilever have a substantial market share to be profitable. In contrast, Unilever was not so successful in the US, which was the world's largest ice cream market. They acquired Good Humor Ice Cream in 1961 through their affiliate company, TJ Lipton, which had a profitable tea and canned soup business. Lipton failed to develop Good Humor as a brand, and it took losses from 1968 to 1984 and held less than 1% of the American ice cream market. Now, how is that possible? How could they be failing? The business was failing because TJ Lipton, who was successful in tea and canned soup, didn't want to give resources to Good Humor. And because TJ Lipton was autonomous, expertise from Europe wasn't easily crossed over. So Unilever enforced more control over their US companies, and in 1933 they bought Breyer's ice cream. And in 2000 they acquired Ben & Jerry's and are now the world's leading ice cream manufacturer. Unilever is a fast-moving consumer goods company, one of several large ones that control most of the brands that we identify with today. Fast-moving consumer goods are non-durable products. They're bought by consumers and are bought immediately. They're also consumed by nearly all people, over and over again. And because they have a high turnover rate, the market is large and competitive. Companies have to focus on marketing the goods to attract customers to buy their products. These companies all employ a multi-brand strategy for a few reasons. It's so competitive that the best way to make profits is by scale, so you control as many brands as possible. In the beauty and personal care industry, expectations and needs vary. Controlling several independent brands allows you to appeal to all types of consumers, and some customers just like to switch brands, and having different brands lets companies collect profits while creating the illusion of choice. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe and be sure to check out some of the other videos on this channel, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.